This is not a kid-friendly show.
Yo, what's going on, my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. Today we're going to talk about another design blog by Mod Jack. Now we're going to be talking about smithing again. This time we're going to be talking about the Masterwork items specifically. Now all this is subject to change, and if you want to read this for yourself, I'll have a link to it down in the description below. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So the summary is Masterwork items are the best available gear that can be made with smithing. All recipes in this document require 99 smithing. The process of creating Masterwork items is complicated, time consuming, and expensive. This is intentional in order to add value to items to make them profitable to make. Only Ethereum tier 90 items can be Masterwork. All previous tiers are limited to fine quality. Masterwork items have an item level of 90 and require level 90 to use. Masterwork armor is tank armor. Masterwork items are augmentable and degrade to broken. Consumable smithing items are needed to repair them. Masterwork items can be combined with PVM drops to make even better gear, item level 92, and even further once that gear is needed in the future. There will be a separate document about these energized items. Making Masterwork items won't be a good source of XP. They aren't supposed to be a training method, and if they gave good XP, it would undermine their value. Only token XP is awarded for each stage in the process. See analysis and economy at the end of the document for more discussion. So creating Masterwork item. The process of creating a Masterwork item is intentionally complex, time consuming, and expensive. It's an ultimate achievement for a high level smith. Masterwork items are made from two significant components: glorious Ethereum bars and Ethereum filigree, as well as a handful of readily available items. The same number of glorious bars are needed as would be needed to make a normal item in normal tier. For example, 10 for a sword. However, each bar is much more difficult and expensive to make than a normal bar. Glorious bars are enriched bars, also a new item, which have been repeatedly folded. 10 times as much filigree is needed as a number of bars that are needed. For example, 100 for a sword. Filigree has cheap material components, but is very time intensive for a smith to make. Glorious Ethereum bars. Glorious Ethereum bars are enriched Ethereum bars, see below, which have been folded 1001 times in order to make them glorious. The folding process is very simple but lengthy according to the following recipes. So the process is: you take enriched Ethereum bars, 4 cycles will make a folded bar. Take the folded bar, 4 cycles will make another folded bar. You take that and 4 cycles will make the glorious bar. Every time the folded bar to folded bar recipe is repeated, a variable increments on the player. Once this variable reaches 1000, the next time the bar is folded, it becomes a glorious bar. This means that only one bar can be folded at a time. The recipe can be queued up to be repeated using make X. The total per bar would cost 408 cycles and it'll take about 40 minutes. For an entire sword, which is 10 bars, it'll take 400 minutes, which is already a really sizable amount of time. Enriched and glorious bars are tradable, but folded bars are not. So you could choose to totally skip this part, or it seems like you'd be able to take enriched bars, buy those, turn them into glorious bars, and sell them for some profit. That is a possibility as well. So enriched Ethereum bars. Enriched Ethereum bars are combinations of many variable materials combined together into a single bar. Enriched Ethereum bars are made the following recipes. So I'm not really going to go into detail, I'll just show it on screen right now. It's a pretty lengthy recipe, so even this recipe is going to be time consuming. It says it'll take about 298 cycles, which is about 5 minutes to make one bar. Enough to make a sword will take about 50 minutes. So mind you, this is 50 minutes on top of the additional 400 minutes. Enriched Ethereum bars, dragon bars, barrels bars, Presulic bars, concentrated alloy bars, and immaculate alloy bars are tradable. So again, everything needed to make these things will all be tradable, and again, might be a way to make money. Who knows? All depends on the way the economy is going to work out. So purifying flux, a secret dwarven technique. This item can only be purchased from the artisan's workshop for 10k coins per flux. That is one of the items needed in each recipe. Dragon bar. Dragon bars, known by scholars as Anterafission Drakerlith, are the metal that dragon equipment made by Dragonkin are made of. It is obtained by melting dragon items at the Dragon Forge. One dragon bar is gained for each bar that type of equipment requires to create. Barrels bars. Barrels bars are the metal that the barrels equipment is made of. It's obtained by melting down barrels armor at the Dragon Forge. One barrels bar is gained for each bar of the type of equipment it requires to create. Presulic bars. Presulic bars are the metal that Torva armor is made of. It's obtained by melting down Torva armor at the Dragon Forge. 1 Presulic bar is gained for each bar that type of equipment requires to create. Ethereum filigree. Ethereum filigree uses cheap materials but it's extremely time consuming to make. It's made using the following recipe. So you take a bar, turn it into wire, you take the wire, you turn it into twisted wire, and you take those wires and turn it into filigree. This is where it gets beefy. The total cycles it takes to do that is 4,600 cycles. It'll take about 46 minutes to make 1 filigree. To make 100 filigree, it'll take 4,600 minutes, which is crazy. Ethereum filigree and Ethereum wire are tradable though. So again, if you're just looking to skip those steps, you could totally just buy these off the GE. So Masterwork item assembly. Once the crate materials are collected, they are made into the Masterwork item using the following recipes. The example given is a sword, but other items would be comparable. So you take your 10 bars, you get your Masterwork billet. Take that, you get a Masterwork sword blank. Take the sword blank, you get a blade. From the blade, you get an annealed Masterwork sword blade, and so on and so forth. I'm really not going to get into all this. You can check out the whole process in the link below, but it's a lengthy process. The entire thing is going to take 680 cycles, about 7 minutes. It's going to require 10 glorious Ethereum bars, 100 Ethereum filigree, 2 Ethereum bars, and 1 onyx. The total time it's going to take to create the entire thing, assuming you did everything by yourself and you didn't buy the materials, will be a whopping 5,057 minutes, which is like 84 hours, assuming you did everything by yourself, this is a whopping amount of time and resources you're going to need to put into making something like this. But if you did, it would mean you have your own tier 90 item for free. Again, at any point, like I said, you can buy some of these materials and drastically shorten the amount of time it'll take to make this, but it will be expensive. Also, so you gotta take that into consideration. Who knows if it'll be cheaper than actually buying the PVM equivalent of those tier 90 items? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So glorious bars and the final Masterwork sword are tradable. None of the intermediate components in this process, hilts, etc., are going to be tradable though. One potential alternative option is that you make the sword using Artisan's Workshop ceremonial swords making process. This would be more interesting gameplay, but it's also restricted only to swords, so maybe impossible to develop in a reasonable time. So XP for Masterwork smithing. Masterwork smithing will give poor XP rewards for the time and materials invested. It's not intended to be an effective method of training. Finally, let's get to analysis and economy. As discussed in the dev diary, the difficult thing about making smithing profitable is that you could only make by giving up something in return. In any situation in which smithing an item is either directly advantageous to be smith, such as it being fun or rewarding XP, enough people were prepared to pay for that privilege that the market price of the resultant items will be lower than the materials. What this means in practice is that for smithing to be profitable, it needs to be unrewarding in other ways. This is why Masterwork creation does not reward significant XP. It is also why the manufacturing process takes so long. If creating a Masterwork item took less than a minute, people would be willing to do it for free and would expect to be able to do it via assist, and there'd be no way to make money. Ethereum filigree in particular is specifically designed for players who aren't interested in playing the GE for profit, because the materials are so cheap, the time invested is so high, and it's needed in such large quantity. It should be a way to make low risk profit using the smithing skill. If you look at the filigree time requirement and think this is too much, then you should consider buying it from others. Folding bars is similar, although the risk here is higher because the initial investment in a rich bar is much higher. Another reason for the process of making a single item being so long is to restrict the supply. If Masterwork items could be produced at a rate of hundreds per day, they will pour into the economy, especially immediately after launch, and probably wildly exceed the supply. One way of restricting this would be to make them once per day or similar, but we agreed that this doesn't feel like a smithing mechanic, and we're trying to lessen the number of dailies rather than increase them. To try to keep with the feel of classic RS gameplay, we've made it a time investment rather than a time lock. The sheer annoying complexity of the design serves a similar purpose. If some people are put off by how fiddly and intricate it is to have to keep track of all those individual items, that restricts the number of people who are supplying Masterwork items to the market. I realize it's a slightly perverse design, but if it looked like a fun and simple process to everyone would do it, and so no one would make any money from it. The players who look at how long and fiddly it is and say this looks awesome are the ones who will be selling it. So that about wraps it up for the design document on the Masterwork items. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Again, the link to this, if you want to check it out for yourself, will be in the description, so go check it out. And tweet at Jack if you have any concerns or you think something in this should be changed. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I promise to keep you up to date on all things RuneScape. You're already in the right place, so hit that subscribe button, doggies. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.